We got Frank from Georgia, and Frank says, using the Bible as a basis for deconstructing. What's in your mind tonight, Frank?
I'm a big fan of the channel and big fan of you, Justin and Sarah. I've watched a lot of your content and listened to some of your Bible study stuff, and I just find the idea of using the Bible as a basis for deconstructing is like really interesting and a really cool sort of angle to take it. And so I was just kind of wondering about like, so first of all, about building out sort of my reference, framework for different things I can cite for these kind of discussions. And then just like, and I'm kind of leaning towards Sarah on this other point about, because, Sarah, you have such a great way of talking about these topics and making it like non-confrontational and accessible, and just, these are such emotionally charged discussions usually. So I just wanted to sort of, from Justin, get the perspective on like how to build out my, knowledge base to be able to have those discussions, and then maybe just those discussion strategies to make it more constructive.
Yeah. Well, when it comes to having these discussions, I think Sarah is the queen of trying to make sure the discussions are constructive and cordial. But the advice I would give is, in order to have these discussions, you have to know the Bible better than they do. And that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Most of these people profess to be of a book. Like, this is the book. It is inerrant. It is the word of God, whether it's the Quran or the Bible or some other book. That's where the key is. The key is with the book. So if you want to debate them on the points of their religion, or even just have a discussion with them, and you don't know what's in that book, they're not going to care what you have to say. But if you know the book better than they do, and you can walk them through the book and demonstrate, not with your opinion, but with the book, you can demonstrate clearly with the book where the flaws are. While they may not come to be in agreement with you right away, it'll at least start to gnaw away at their thinking process if they're honest individuals, and they'll think about that later. They'll think about that later when they're going down, getting ready for bed at night, drinking their tea or whatever. They'll be, yeah, you know what? I mean, he was making a good point, and like, yeah, I guess it does kind of make sense. And because the reality is, it's hard to convince somebody to come to your side in the middle of a discussion, but they're going to review it later.
And Justin, I think he was asking.
Actually an example. Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, I think Justin, he was also asking for like some specific reference books. Like, what do you have on your shelf?
That I got a lot of things on my shelf. Let me get you some of my favorites. Okay. So for deconstruction, if it's a Catholic, what you want is the second or the third edition of the Jerome Bible commentary. Really good, great academic source. And what it's going to do is it's going to allow you to look at the Bible through an academic resource, because most of what Christians believe about the Bible isn't what you'll learn in seminary. It's not what you're going to learn in Bible college. It's what they learn more through like zeitgeist, right? So in order to break their thinking about, well, this passage must mean this, right? So most people think, for example, that the final kingdom in the book of Daniel is in fact the kingdom of Rome, right? But so this particular, this is the second edition of the commentary. This was done in 1967. In this commentary, this is a Catholic commentary, they're stating in 1967 that the field has already shifted, and almost nobody agrees that Rome is the final kingdom. It's actually the kingdom of Greece, and that all of the book of Daniel is addressing the Antiochian crisis. So that's a great commentary if you want to dispel some of these dumb notions about how to interpret Bible prophecy from an academic lens. If they're not a Catholic, you might want to try reading from the Oxford Bible Commentary. It's a single volume commentary set. It's going to give you a lot of the same stuff that you'll get from the Jerome Bible Commentary. And then if you're like, listen, I just want like a really good study Bible to start with, I would probably turn to the New Oxford Annotated Study Bible. You can get a 5th edition right now. That being said, the 6th edition is right around the corner. It's supposed to be out just before the end of December. So if you can wait just a little bit, you'll get the 6th edition, and it's going to be excellent. It's going to have the new Revised Standard Edition updated for the translation, which I love that translation. The other study Bible you might want to consider is called the Catholic Study Bible. This is one edition of the Catholic Study Bible. You want to get the 3rd edition, don't get the 2nd edition. But I like this one because it's got really good notes, and it's got a margin for you to write your own notes in. And the pages are thick enough that your ink won't bleed through it. But those are really good places to start. If you want something after that, then I would start recommending volumes that are much larger. The only other thing I might recommend is, this is the Jewish Annotated New Testament. It's actually a commentary on the New Testament written by people that are actually in Judaism. And so if you're looking through the New Testament and you're like, this seems silly after I've read the Old Testament, don't worry, it's not just silly to you. It was silly to the Jews who heard it as well. And there's some lighthearted commentary on it. They don't go too hard. They're pretty nice to their Christian friends in this commentary, but they don't really hold any punches either.
Yeah, and so I have a couple of examples of just things that I've heard from sort of your streams that I've sort of used in some of these discussions recently, like the curse of Jeconiah for the line of Joseph, right? Is something that most Christians like would not be aware of, right? And they were all surprised to be like, oh, well, you know, Jesus's line goes through Joseph, and like that's difficult, but also that, you know, the curse of Jeconiah is like a, you know, why Joseph's line wouldn't even be eligible. And then you have to like sort of do this exceptionalism sort of, you know, thing once you realize that. And then the other thing was the way that the Septuagint translates Alma for the virgin birth, right? And I find that kind of stuff really interesting. The fact that like, you know, the Greek translation, we have like the way that the KJV will translate certain things sort of in ways that mislead the reader. Like you have that same issue with the Septuagint. I find that kind of stuff really interesting. So I've been really enjoying your content and finding those kinds of points really salient, and they get through somewhat, but it always feels like I'm kind of also browbeating a little bit, like feel like,
I get that.
well, I don't know where you're getting so deep on it, right?
Right.
But
yeah.
but I appreciate it. I'm excited to look into the references you've provided. And yeah, and Sara, like as Justin said, I find your sort of style to be so approachable and like, you know, constructive. And so, you know, any strategies from you, I'd be interested to hear.
Yeah, sure. I think if you want someone to understand you, you know, you have to first understand them. And I think the vast majority of people are trying to be good people, and that's how I see them. You know, yes, there are some people who are mean for the sake of being mean, but for the majority of people, they're at least trying to come from a good place. And so I want to find that good place and meet them there. And then I think people will listen to what you have to say more once they know that you understand what they are saying. Right. So, I think coming from, you know, if you used to be a Christian and you're not any longer, it's a lot easier to do because you can remember like, oh yeah, I remember feeling that way. I remember experiencing that. And so I think, well, as to put it simply, is empathy, right? Because I don't want to hurt people. I don't want people to be mad at me, and I don't want to be mad at them. And I do think that it's a really cool, fun experience when someone comes at you really angry and aggressive, and you can find that point of connection with them and remind them, hey, you're a human. I'm a human. Like, we actually have a lot more in common than maybe you thought we did. And so I think that that's really gratifying. So, yeah, I would just say try to understand them first and try to connect with them. With the thing you all actually do have in common.
Yeah, I think it's there's a bit of a balancing act, because like I do sort of have personally, my personal values are that like the prescriptivism of like moral of moral objectivity is like, I think, fundamentally harmful, right? Like I think that to adopt that worldview, that like that morals can be dictated to you, and that your sort of decision making goes out the window, and it's more of a matter of like finding the right citation and finding the right sort of absolute moral authority to gets you into this place of just impasse, right? And it's something that I'm really passionate about. It's like how to tell people that as a moral subjectivist or relativist, that doesn't mean that it's not important. I think that importance itself is a subjective thing. So I think it's the only thing that can be important is that, these are decisions that we have to make, and that they have to be derived from context. But for people that have that ingrained in them, it's like, it's such a fundamental shift that I find it's hard to get them to like see that as not an attack on their like basic moral sense, and telling them that their morals are fundamentally wrong or fundamentally broken. But at the same time, like I think it's important to deconstruct that worldview, because we all have to try to understand and empathize with each other to arrive at those shared values that you're talking about. So it's a delicate thing, but I really appreciate both of you and the work that you do. And so I don't want to take up too much of your time, and you might have more interesting or controversial callers, but I've just been a big fan of the show and both of you guys. So I just wanted to call in since I saw you guys were live and tell you I appreciate all the work that you do and all the work that the line does. And I just wanted to have a second to talk. So
thanks so much.
I'll let you guys go, but I appreciate the time. Thank you guys.
Yeah, Big W, Frank, best of luck on your deconstructing journey, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fully deconstructed. It's more me trying to be a constructive advocate in the space.
Right. Well, let us know if you need anything, okay?
All right. Thank you, guys.
Cheers, friend.